What is your God? I ain't posted in a little while, but this was a topic that I actually been meaning to talk about. I got a whole bunch of video topics that I've been meaning to get around to, but this one, the topic of what is your God, is something that is actually a idea that really speaks to me in like high volumes. Because some people may see this and they might instantly attribute that to like religion. Like, what religion do you follow? If you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Catholic. But I don't see it that way. I think it's because since I'm just spiritual and I don't tie myself to any religious institution, God has become formless to me. Like, I don't see God as like a single form as he's depicted in like the Christian Bible. To me, God is just energy. God is essence. And since God is essence, and we all derive from one source of energy, because we all came from something, we came from creation. I see God as that creation of energy. And God is something that you put your faith and belief in. And it's something that for a lot of people guides their actions. So in my definition, if God is formless, then God could take whatever form someone attaches to. And I actually believe wholeheartedly that people's gods are not the gods that are depicted in their religion. I think people's gods are actually the materialistic things that are here on the third dimension that people spend their whole lives chasing. For example, somebody's god may be money. They chase money their whole life, maybe because when they were younger, they couldn't get a lot of shit. So when they get older, they are on a strive for money. Or you look at somebody that is very relationship oriented. They get in and out of a lot of relationships. That means that the female or male energy is their god because they spend their whole lives following that and letting that dictate their actions. Or they are their own god, meaning that they live in service for themselves. They live a self-centered life where they are very focused on self-development. And maybe this ties down to a pure place where you genuinely just want to like be the best version of yourself, or it could be very ego driven where you can't get out your own way because you think that you're so perfect or all these other things. Like, it might be tied to ego. All in all, I believe your God is what you worship, and it's something that you keep at a high value. This is something that, you put at your center because this is almost like your compass. And I feel as though that what people really do worship is not anything that truly matters when they're attached to these pointless things like I've named. Because when it comes down to the money or the female energy, if you're a man, all of these things are material. And a saying that I've recently just come to like make up is all material must dematerialize. And that's a very true statement. And that kind of opened my eyes because I used to attach my value to all the materialistic things that we had here. Matrix actually got me really good because I was under the belief that I only had value due to what I do, that my value only derives strictly from if I have something quote unquote going on, or if I have a girlfriend, or if I look good all the time, or if I got all the good swag. And then I had to realize after I hit like rock bottom in a way, like I was at a old time low, I was at a burnout. I had learned that my value is actually in my heart. My values in my soul, it's in my consciousness. Because if you think about it, no matter what you believe in, you can't debate that we are not consciousness. We are beings of consciousness, pure consciousness. But we're just simply taking this human form to have a human experience. And because of that, since we're just playing in like probably the most hyper-realistic VR game ever, if you are truly consciousness, this body is just like the car that you're driving around in. Once you start identifying with all the material that we see here in this world, and you start to worship it, you start to distance yourself from who you truly are. And you get lost in all the bullshit that doesn't matter. Because what they won't tell you is that in reality, none of this shit matters. But you're gonna get told your whole life that, nah, bro, you need to go chase this and chase that. Because value is a projection. Money only has value because we as a collective have come to say that this piece of paper right here equates to this. Body count only matters because we as a collective said that a high body count shows da 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 da. We as the collective said that status matters because X, Y, and Z. You see what I'm getting at? Value only is a thing if everybody believes that it is. But strip that projected value, and what do you have? Nothing. These things are simply just things. status and money and clout are all just constructs that don't fucking matter. But yet you see people worship shit that doesn't matter. So then when they finally obtain it, it doesn't even do anything for them. It's on to the next thing. Because humans are dopamine junkies. And life is the biggest dopamine amusement park that there is. And I've come to realize that, and it's changed my whole perspective on why I do what the fuck I do. Because once you realize that we're all dopamine junkies and we do shit just for that quick dopamine hit, you start to understand, holy shit, I've never been satisfied. I had to realize that, bro. I had to literally realize that I've never been satisfied in my life as long as I've lived for this world. As long as I put on a pedestal all the bullshit and nonsense that they make you believe matters, you will never be truly free. You will be a slave to the systems that are in place. You will be a slave to shit like money, shit like women, and all the things that really don't matter. I use money and women because I am under the belief now that the two main obstacles that man must overcome is his ambition and woman. Because I'll break it down like this. I'm not saying be a lazy ass nigga and like spend your whole life doing nothing, no. I mean ambition in the sense of the commercialized ambition, where you are taught to do all this bullshit, all this stuff that doesn't even really align with your soul to do, to go out and quote unquote make it. And you spend your whole life chasing all these things that are just things, like I say. When in reality, if you just like zero in and focus on just one really strong thing that speaks to you and that's in alignment with your soul, you'll actually see that you get good results. You ever notice how if you go out and you try and do everything else that these other people are doing, it might not fucking work out for you? Because we're not all meant to do the same thing in this life. Everybody has their own purpose. But the trick is that people want to figure out their purpose while they're here. When in reality, you don't figure out your purpose until you're gone from here. You living is your purpose. The shit that you do on a day-to-day is your purpose. Because you'll come to realize that as the chips fall into place, that you were walking in your purpose the whole time if you follow your alignment. Whereas ambition, it kind of takes away that alignment and it projects your path that you're walking on onto stuff that is projected value. That is my belief of ambition. Now for women, as men we have the sexual instinct, so because of that we naturally want to pursue women. And in this pursuit of women, we often become fools. We often lower our standards. We often search in the wrong places for the female energy. A lot of men fall into lust. There's a lot of strong men out here that we see fall to lust. And all you do is just you lose your fucking energy. You lose your root energy, our sexual energy. Because if we have the power to create life and all you're doing is constantly wasting that energy, then you're going to feel literally drained at all times. And this whole pursuit of the female is something that men have done since the beginning of time. That's just what we're wired to do. But if men were able to, let's say, put their lust in check and have higher standards for the type of woman that they pursue and stop doing as many things for the female eye, and they stop succumbing to all the traps of the lustful desires like pornography, and niggas become gooners and shit. Niggas be having whole gooning addictions, bro. It'd be fucking bad. I be looking at them niggas and be like, yo, they got us good. Because porn is the biggest trap, but people don't like to talk about it because it's considered taboo. But it kind of got normalized to go watch other people have intercourse and you pleasure yourself to it. That got normalized. And there's a lot of media that normalizes it to the point where it's like, okay, this is accepted. And I'm not saying that to shame anybody that does that. All I'm saying is be conscious of what you're doing and be conscious of how you feel afterwards. But more importantly, be aware of how every time after you do that, you only want more. Because your ego is a bottomless pit that can never be fulfilled. Because the ego is what survives off of dopamine. Which is why we do a lot of the things that we do. It's all for dopamine. And a lot of people don't realize that. They chase and they chase and they chase and they're never going to be fulfilled because when it comes to your ego, man, we got to kill that shit. A lot of people will never experience an ego death because they're too stuck in their own ways. I'm actually striving for a full ego death. And that's led me to the point where I'm burning my karma. Basically meaning that you're just following your desires, right? But you're following the desires that is attuned to your soul. Doing the shit that you really want to do. And when you do it and you actually like get it done, you'll feel a serenity, bro. And it's a serenity that I've never felt because I was just following the desires of my mind, of my thoughts. And a lot of people want to understand what I'm about to say, but your thoughts aren't you. Your thoughts are simply just a projection of the world that we walk around, and we associate and we identify with those thoughts, and that leads us to doing a lot of the shit that we do. When in reality, you don't control your thoughts. You don't even control when you start or stop thinking. You don't control intrusive thoughts. You don't have any control over it. Yet, people attach and tie their identity to those thoughts because they simply can't differentiate their inner self and their thinking mind. And that was a struggle I had to overgo as well. But your inner self is like your gut feeling. It's your intuition. Like even in sports, you think that you have any moment to be in your mind. You don't. You know what you know. You just follow your gut and you make the right play. Because play advances play and nothing happens if nothing happens. And if you live off the pure instinct and don't follow your thoughts as much, then you're actually going to be way more peaceful. Because your thoughts are almost like a tornado, and you are at the middle of that tornado. And while you're in the middle of that, you can see all the nonsense, the negativity, the bad thoughts you have about yourself, all the bullshit that you put on a pedestal. And you have to sit in that storm until it passes. And you have to embrace all these thoughts and understand that they exist, but understand that they are not you. And over time, you're going to reach a point where you just reach a detachment with the third dimensional desires. And that is when you start the process of living for your soul. But these are concepts that a lot of people don't get the chance to come to a realization about. They never reach this point. But I feel like anybody that decided to watch this video and even made it this far, that means that you have the ability to go down this path. Because the first thing that you need is an open and receiving ear. And a lot of people are triggered just by certain things that I said, and they might have clicked off because they feel vulnerable, they feel exposed. But if you're able to look yourself in the mirror and understand that, hey, I think I'm actually worshiping and making into my God all of these pointless things, once you are able to understand that and you notice that, that allows room for change. Because the human experience is that of evolution. It's that of learning. It's that of advancement. And there's no way that you get advancement without fucking up here and there, without getting punched in the face and falling on your fucking ass so that you could get up and make a change. That's why you can't live in fear or doubt or any low frequency emotions. You gotta live high vibrational, high frequency by taking care of yourself, eating the right thing, staying in shape, being compassionate, doing the right thing for others and yourself. All of this ties together to be the best version of you. And if anybody here has watched any of my other videos, that's what I'm always talking about, being the best version of you. And a lot of what I talk about deals with derealization in a way. It deals with unplugging from the bullshit that we walk in every single day. Because unfortunately, we live in a life where we are in this amusement park, the dopamine amusement park, where we gotta get on all these rides and experience fleeting moments that are only good for that one moment, but you can't take that shit with you. And at some point, you're gonna reach dopamine burnout, where your dopamine receptors are so fried, you're gonna reach a state where you don't even want to live for this shit anymore. Where now you just want to live for you. And that's kind of where I've reached. And I hope that you guys could also reach that point. You can't force this shit. You gotta live it out. But I really advise, and I'm a big proponent of burning your karma and following your soul's path and not living your life in servitude to all the nonsense that we got here. And I believe that all stems from asking yourself, what do you worship? And as soon as you ask yourself that and you see what's going on, what you put on a pedestal, like I said, that's how you are able to open the gateway to change. This was my longest video because I wanted to incorporate like a whole bunch of ideas that I've had. But I only make YouTube videos when like I feel convicted to. Like this shit isn't like an end goal for me. I don't like strive to be a YouTuber. I just do this as like another practice that I have to release my thoughts, to heighten my vibration, to spread some good words to whoever watches. I truthfully don't even know how these videos do, but I don't really care how they do because I don't do this for views. I don't do this for subscribers. I think I've seen like maybe a couple comments, but like I engage and I keep pushing on my day because I know that as long as someone receives what I'm saying and they're able to understand it, it doesn't even fucking matter if they like or comment. If they just receive what I'm saying, that's what this is all for. It's for me to express what I gotta say, and it's for someone on the other end to take in this information. So if you like this style of video and want to see more shit like this, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. I definitely will be making more videos whenever I feel convicted. But if any of this resonated with you, feel free to comment. or anything of the sort. I just want to say the truth. I don't want to spread no bullshit because I'm just not interested in that. So stay tuned for the next one, and I appreciate y'all if y'all made it this far.